So welcome, everybody. We are a quorum. We don't have minutes to approve, but we can work on that.
And who's connecting but through audio? And welcome, Ann Sussman.
Oh,
Hi.
Hi,
Ann.
I'm pleased that you're joining us. That's great.
Yeah,
We're interested in getting more public input, so appreciate your attending.
great. And Janet, I'm trying to think of who Janet is.
Is Janet connecting to audio?
That's what it says, but we don't know.
Yeah, she's one of the participants. Let me see. There are two people I invited, and I am embarrassed to say I can't resuscitate, can't remark on who they are, but I can tell you in just a minute. Let's see. Let's see. Ann Sussman and Gwen Shipley. So
Oh, good.
I met them this morning at the chairs list, and they're quite concerned about pesticides.
Anne is here.
Oh, she is? Ann?
Hi.
I apologize. Ah,
Hi.
great. Hi. Don't mind me. I'm slightly distracted, but that's pretty normal. It's part of being old.
Okay, so Janet's muted.
Yep.
I'm here.
Janet, what's your last name? I know 5 Janets.
Anderson,
Ah, wonderful.
Anderson.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
one with the bubbles.
Great.
Hey. Well,
I'll
since
see if I can show my face.
okay.
Sorry.
So I don't have the agenda up in front of me, but I did not see minutes from the last meeting.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and I was not at the last meeting, I don't think. I was doing something
we
else.
noticed that. No. Yeah, we're fine. I think we'll get together with Leah. Hi. So the any report on the winter sow that happened at the end of October? We'll go right into old business.
Oh, yeah, Janet or was a major contributor for helping to get everything rolling. And we had, how many do you think we had, Janet? 20? Oh, can't hear you.
You're muted. Yeah, go ahead and unmute. Yeah, great.
20-ish.
Yeah, 20-ish, and a lot of enthusiasm about sheet mulching, which is how I introduced it. And everybody did 1 or 2 or 3 jugs. They were very
Nice.
involved with the jugs. And it was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You're muted
cool.
again. Janet, you're muted again.
Yeah, you can stay unmuted unless somebody's dog starts barking in the background, we'll be fine.
What were you going to say?
These were avid gardeners, as far as from the Green Thumbs group. So it was fun to see their interest and lack of awareness of what they could do. So it was fun to share the word.
They seemed enthusiastic about getting less lawn in general. So it was a West Concord Green Thumbs social event that I did a short talk, and then we did the filled jugs with last year's seeds, since I hadn't gotten new seeds. I did order seeds today for a much higher price than I expected, but we'll be working out.
Yeah, last year's seed should work fine, I would think.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
Depends
usually,
on how you store it.
yeah. Oh, yeah, true. The cooler and drier it is, the better. But
Right.
boy, small seeds seem to have a lot of longevity, whereas large seeds seem to have a shorter lifespan.
Mm.
The
Okay, hi Leah.
Go ahead. Hi, Leah. Did you want to do anything about minutes, Leah?
I probably should, and I didn't do anything.
Okay, next time, no problem. Let's see. So the next thing on the agenda was to talk about the League of our connections with the League of Women Voters, the let me see if I can recite these. Division of Natural Resources, CLCT, Concord Land Concentration Trust, and Concord Public Works about improving the number of native plants and removing invasives. Any thoughts on that? How are we doing on that?
I think we've got as marked as a 0.
Okay. Well, I have an idea, just a thought. What if each one of us took, one or two of us took each group? You know, for example, maybe somebody, would anyone like to do the League of Women Voters? Is anyone an active part? You're all women.
I'm active.
What
Pardon?
what are you asking us to do?
Yeah, what is the,
Yeah, what's the
what's the
game plan?
program?
What's the
Okay.
game plan?
The game plan here, I think, is that under old business last time, or under business last time, we talked about interfacing with other town groups,
Okay.
the things we want to accomplish. And like today, I was at the breakfast this morning, and one of the people there, I apologize. A suggestion was made by someone I spoke with, who may be Anne, may not, I apologize, Anne, but the suggestion was made that we track where the pesticides are being put down on the land of Concord. And great. Oh, I'm so glad. Well, I thought it was very interesting idea because about a decade ago, I know this is a long time, Sig Ruse and I went to the pesticide committee or group or whatever it is, the folks that administer this at the State House. And they have their own offices near North Station. And all of the everybody who puts down a controlled substance, a pesticide, farmers, golf courses, licensed pesticide appliers are required by the state, by law, to tell the state what they put down. And it's on pieces of paper. And when Sig and I went there, there were boxes of these things organized by year, but literally two normal size boxes, we're talking like a file cabinet drawer, was 1 year's worth of reporting. And Sig and I, with considerable effort, it took us a couple hours, went through those, one by one to find landscaping companies that may have worked in Concord and put some stuff down. But they don't say, like if I'm XXY lawn service, it doesn't say, well, I went to this address and put this much down and that address and put that much down, et cetera. It's just that over the course of the year, we put down this many pounds of this stuff. And it could be, so it's all over the place. Those are hard to do. But on other places, like the Shattuck Golf Course, there was their sheet. And same with Concord Golf Course, their sheet. And we did not find any of the farms per se, but they do file them. I think they might have been filed in a different way, so we just didn't pick up the address. What we were after at the time was the same idea that if we knew where pesticides were being applied, then we could avoid, having, beekeepers, honey beekeepers, could know where they don't want to put their beehives, for example. I'm sure I showed you folks that map I did, gosh, more than a decade ago now, showing the hive survival rate in different parts of Concord.
Right.
Have you've seen that, Isabel? I'll tell you what, not now, but I'll send it out by email. But anyway, the gist of it is that some parts of Concord, honeybees do very well, like the northwest part. Other parts of Concord, like where I live, the southeast section, they do very poorly. And actually, if you look at the report from the Shattuck Golf Course at that time, they were putting down a lot of pesticide. They were
So are you suggesting that we somehow connect with the state people to find out, will they be able to tell us
Well, I think the idea that Anne suggested and that we talked about this morning was maybe we in Concord do it in the town. Because trying to
Yeah, but how do you do that? That's what I'm asking is do you think that the state regulatory system is a way to do that?
It's a very good question. That's what needs to be figured out. How do we do it? Uh, I have an idea on how I might do it, only because I did something similar when I was working for digital equipment in the 1970s out in Westfield. We had an area, a manufacturing plant with about 400 people working in it, and they had to log what they were doing, right? And so we put it online. They used to fill out pieces of paper with what they were doing. And of course, at the end of the day, we were 400 pieces of paper, and somebody had to go and put all that into a computer. So what we did was we generated a system where the person could put it in themselves that was easy to use. And I think that might work here, because then what we did was the Digital Equipment Corporation required reporting, right? So we said, okay, instead of us reporting all that
So
information on,
can I cut you a little bit short on this because we only have an hour? Are
You
you
bet.
thinking that we would propose that the people would have to register with the town to if they're applying pesticides?
yeah, and that we perhaps might provide a system that would eliminate their need to report to the state, because we could do that for them, you know?
Well, I don't think we should be a go-between on
Well,
commercial.
Conversely, they could use our system, and then our system would print out the report exactly the way the state wants it. That's easy to do.
So we would
So-
have to find out what the state wants.
We know that. That's easy. We've already done that 10 years ago, and I'm sure it hasn't changed much since.
Oh, I mean,
Well,
we're so much-
if it has, it's easy to adapt. And I don't have a
Right.
Just
problem.
it needs to be updated, that's all.
Yeah. I
so
think
so
Go ahead.
who would take on, reaching out to the regulatory people to get their program or so that we know what they're doing? Because I'm sure it's electronic now.
I would be surprised, but I would definitely, I certainly have no problem with doing that. I talked to them 10 years ago. I'm sure the people have changed, but the idea is there.
Okay, so you'd reach out to the state.
Yep.
I've talked with the people that do Emerson Playground, and they do not put pesticides down at all.
Right. Yes.
And so, I mean, and so somebody, if we're looking at this, we would need to look at schools as a separate application from, each department has their own sort of system. So it would be schools, a recreation department, and it would be DPW. Is the way I see it. I don't know if other people have other
Housing,
what
housing.
housing. State
not-
state housing.
Housing isn't the town, housing's the state.
Yeah,
Most of it's the state, but it's not just here, there's all places all over town.
right.
Mhm. Yep. So we'd have a number of people to touch base with about this, would it?
Okay,
I
This
think
is
before,
something we could do.
before we touch base, I think we should have a very clear questionnaire or survey that we're completing so it's easy to input. Because
Well,
if it's a narrative from everywhere, then it's hard to then label it
Yep.
down.
okay, that's like you're documenting what is or was. How can we impact, and this might be two separate things, but it's kind of layered in my mind, is how can we impact what they're currently doing and what they plan to do?
We'll find out. I don't know. But I
Well,
think
currently there's snow, so they're doing nothing.
right.
Right.
So,
Well, don't count on it. But anyway,
Okay, last year, wasn't there a pesticide amendment or some kind of thing on the town warrant regarding pesticides?
not that I know of.
Oh, the year before? There wasn't? Oh,
it had to do with the rodenticide.
Yeah.
okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Thank you.
And I thought that might be a group for us to talk to, the folks that did that, and just say, hey, tell us what it was like. Here's what we're thinking about doing. What do you think? And I think, we need to talk to the farmers and say, hey, what do you think about this? And we need to talk to the golf courses. I mean, these are big players, both of those guys. And then we certainly need to talk to these. I think the hardest is probably going to be the lawn services, and they're actually probably a fairly major problem because they probably don't keep track of it by location. They probably
But
go
we
to
don't even know, I mean, there's so many different lawn services that that's what my question is. How do you capture them? I mean, everybody on my street has some have teamed up, but not all of them have teamed up to the same lawn service.
Yeah, and it may be that we're only partially effective. I just don't know.
Well,
I think
okay,
Anne?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Yeah, I got very concerned about this. There was a New York Times article in September, I can forward it to all of you, that if you live within a mile of a golf course,
Right,
and
yeah.
many people live within a mile of golf courses in Concord, you have a 50% chance, increased chance of getting Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's because, and paraquat was the major culprit here. Now, paraquat's been banned. It's a herbicide that's been banned in 70 countries. It's not banned in the United States. It was banned on golf courses, I believe, maybe 3 to 5 years ago, but that doesn't mean it could still be in our golf courses. It was a very effective thing. So what I'm worried about as a public member, as a parent, I'm worried that I didn't know about this. And I'm worried that it's not easy for the public to get access to what are the pesticides that we are breathing, on Old Marlborough Road, right near to the big golf courses. They're beautiful. What is the cost? We need to know really simply, are they using paraquat? How long did they use paraquat? When was it banned? What are they using now? And then according to Mark, I did learn there is one sustainable golf course that does not use any bad pesticides in Martha's Vineyard. Whether we could establish that, when I looked online, that was the only one in Massachusetts. We could establish that as our standard because there's a cost. The animals, the butterflies, the humans are all paying for this because we don't acknowledge it's there. It needs to be very publicly accessible. And a lot of the science in compassion here, a lot of the science is fairly new. The article I read came out in September 2025, and it gives links to direct science articles. I can forward it to you. But I'm very concerned that Concord needs to know this. There's a new middle school. What are we doing? That middle school's a half mile. What are we doing to those kids? The parents need to know now.
Mhm.
And so I think we need to be, a lot of the science is new in the past 15, 25 years, whatever. But we need to have it really clear. These are the pesticides currently used. And often it takes years before they realize, oh, that is directly linked to Parkinson's. I mean, this article came out in September. We need to get the science out there. We need to be clear. And we need to also see, well, maybe Martha Vineyard is setting the new standard of what Concord should be. You're very kind, but I am very, very concerned because I think I will send that, Mark, I did send it to you if you want to send it to them.
Yeah, I've read it.
You saw, you know that too, but I don't think that people running the town know that. And it should be really clear. I should be able to go on the golf course website and it should say, these are the pesticides we're using. You can't find it.
No,
that's not going to happen.
Oh, no, it can happen.
Yeah, it can. But
It can happen. It's not, I think that's the whole thing. It's not readily available for information. I know I worked with Concord, with the Concord Green, and they're very concerned about what's being put down because they've got the creek and the pond right there. And Alyssa Brown, who's with his has been a NRC director, was able to get what they're listing, but then you have to have somebody to be able to interpret that as well. To know exactly what we're talking about. So that's why I think we have to be clear about what our questions are, our data collection is, and how we're asking the questions so we get the answers we want.
in my experience doing this sort of a system in the past, it's kind of an iterative process. In other words, we'll have a rough idea of what we want to do, and then they'll have a rough idea of what they can provide. And then we work together to come up with a solution that works.
Yeah, I know. I like my neighbors. I did the Xerxes drift study to see what gets drifted in from my neighbors. And I
Sure.
only did it from one neighbor. I should have done it with the other neighbor, to be honest. But
Yeah.
because I think they use the one I did uses pure
Okay.
solution.
Okay, yeah,
but
paraquat's made and sold by Syngenta.
Yep. Our friend at Syngenta, right?
Yeah,
So we've got
I was wondering whose door it was coming out of.
so,
the
I mean, one of the things is maybe I'll be willing to contact Xerxes and ask them
okay,
what's the best way to collect information.
okay, that'd be great. Okay, and I think it would be good to have someone get in touch with the Division of Natural Resources and just say, what do you think about this idea, and how should we work it? Does anyone want to take on the DNR? One of
Um,
our, go ahead.
I mean, I do a lot with them. I
I
don't know
was,
whether I'm a pain in the drain for them or a support. I
I
try
think,
to be a support. I'm
yeah,
I'm willing to ask. I'll ask Will.
yeah, that's
Um,
a, that's great.
he's the land manager.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, they're so. I don't know that if Delia's even gotten a second in command yet.
She
Um,
does, she has one.
and I know Delia is very concerned about Concord Green, for example, because of the water there. So they have a lot of discussion about the vegetation next to the water, and I'm sure they're concerned about any pesticide that would wash into it.
right.
So let's see what they say. I just would be interesting.
Well, I'm willing to take those two on.
Great. Oh,
I
And
now,
think challenge to keep it in mind for pesticide application is
yep,
whoever's applying the pesticides needs to maintain a pesticide applicator license.
yes,
And so as part of maintaining that license, whatever business organization you are, you have to maintain records of application of it varies by state. I don't remember what it is for Mass. For some states, it's only restricted use pesticides, and
Yeah,
then others, it's like all pesticides. Mass might be all, but I don't know DNR in because that's Concord DNR, right?
right.
right.
I don't know that they would actually have access to that data because I think those annual submissions are required to go to this one of the state agencies. I'm blanking on who.
Yeah,
No,
well,
it's
that's what
exactly.
Mark was talking about.
It's
Yeah,
got
but
State.
I don't even know if we could get it from the state agencies. I don't know that's necessarily like
Oh, we
like
we
info.
can. We can because I've got copies of the ones that we looked at a decade ago. That was the Massachusetts Department of Agriculture, MEMDAR, and their pesticide board is the people that collect the data, and they're very helpful. I mean, they're very willing to share information. Um, but they have their own system, you know what I mean? And if we're going to actually try to impact that system, that's a much bigger discussion.
Because if we got the data, I mean, if we were really tech savvy or have another tech savvy intern, we could use the mapping system that Isabel essentially created, and you could theoretically dump that data in there with GIS and create like, plots of the town where there's
Yeah,
certain pesticides applied, but it's
yeah,
be not a easy
Yeah, down the road, I think we can. But I think the big thing is to learn from the state, what they have collected, so we know what they can give us for information.
I'll dig through my piles of paper and see if I can find copies of what we had a decade ago.
how
Yeah,
about
but
what we have, what is available now? How do you find that out?
Well, I'll call them.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I put myself down to talk to them. Yeah.
yeah, you're on. I got you down for state.
Yep. Yep.
Got me down. So
Yeah. We'll do
now,
it.
and I think that this data collection kind of thing, maybe we should put together. You started off contacting all these other groups.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be sort of a slideshow that we might present to each of the groups.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yes.
And that I'm not, I just did my talk to the Breakfast Club. And it, I'm as Leah knows, it's pushing, and Janet knows, it's pushing my skills.
Yeah. Well, I think initially it might be good to just sort of have a verbal discussion, but I think we can work up that slideshow. I think that's gonna be an evolving thing. The slideshow is gonna be basically a description of the system.
No,
Okay,
no, I think it's education of worry that, people need to be
Yeah.
willing to report in.
Yeah, you're right. In the beginning, it's, for example, like what Ann was saying. I'm concerned about blah 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 blah, the health of my children in school that are a half mile from where pesticides are being applied, and I don't even know what's going down there. So that's sort of where we're at now. Later on will be, so here's a copy of the website and how you go and fill out the form of what we put down. And so that's
So
good.
So
Yes.
I had Wilson Kerr speak at the Council on Aging. I
Yep.
mean, maybe he would be willing. You were talking. I don't have your. For some reason, I can't get the list of people that you articulated in the. I don't have the agenda up. But you were talking about League of Women Voters.
Yes. Yeah, it's just under old business on that agenda I sent out.
I can't. I
You can't-
lose you when I look to that, so I'm going to lose you again, and then
All
I'll
right.
go look at the agenda, and then come back, I guess.
Well, a sneaky thing to do that I do is I put them side by side. So I've got the agenda on one side of my screen and I've got you all, and you're great.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
I've got limited skills.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
Don't worry about it.
wait, actually, I just did it. Now
So-
that you,
are you just looking at this paraquat, the herbicide,
No,
or are
looking
you
at all of
looking at,
All of
you're
them.
looking at anything that's used that's called a pesticide?
Right.
yeah.
Anything
The
that
thing
kills
is,
bugs.
what you've listed are the land trust and the conservation people. They clearly don't use the pesticides except for injecting in the fall to the knotweed. So I think that's not
Right.
the list that's best for us
Yeah.
to go with. I think
I'm sorry, I digressed us because the original item on there was just how do we work with these different groups? It's got
Right.
this is just
Yeah.
one little issue.
Oh, no, I think we needed to go deeper before we talk about working with the groups, but maybe just having talking to. I mean, like the PTG would be a good group if they were willing to listen to Wilson Kerr.
Yep.
And I mean, Wilson, I don't know if you've heard him speak, but he has spoken to Concord Cool, the COA, and the library. He's done three places he's done his talk. But
Right.
I think targeting groups, maybe the garden clubs would be a really good one for.
What
Yeah.
about just ask him if he could do one of his articles in the paper coming up?
He does an article every week, right?
No,
No.
months,
Monthly. He did one.
monthly,
He did.
Yeah,
He did one 2 years ago.
right?
Oh.
But,
Well, I hate to
renewal or update.
Yeah. Okay.
I know I threw this on the agenda at the last minute. I have to say we have to leave this topic if we're going to finish on time.
Well, I think you've got a good point, Lois, is to ask him if he would update his article. I think that's a great idea.
Because, I mean, he seems to get quite a bit of readership.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's articulate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's fun.
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot at Ag Day.
It's a little sensitive. My neighbor just retired, quit his job and bought golf stores, and he's a huge golf player. So it's, I mean, their whole life is golf, the whole family. So, but who is it up? Right now I'm entering into cancer treatment, and my grandson, who's Mr. Wildchild, is coming. And so for me in this next month to do things is really pushing it.
Yeah,
Don't
and
worry
I,
about it.
So is
Yeah.
somebody gonna willing to talk to Wilson Kerr? Because I don't want to take on everything.
no, you shouldn't. And I can't, can't take a whole lot either. I'm in another medical thing that, I got in trouble yesterday for big time. So
Okay.
I mean, I'm on a steroid decrease with infusions every 4 weeks. And I can only get my infusions if I don't have any, any kind of exposure to cold or anything. So I am at times almost quarantined.
Right.
So,
Okay, so I'll do Wilson Kerr because I don't want it to get lost.
well,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know him at all. I've met him like once.
Yeah.
And some of you have seen him like several times with the the Ag Day or the Earth Day things. The other thing coming up is I don't know if the farmers have chosen who they're having this year. They have somebody, and there's another group. Oh, I know who it was.
So
Janet.
Emily, tell us about the Ag Committee. Where do they stand on all of this?
On pesticides?
Yeah.
Some use them, obviously.
Um,
No, not necessarily.
well,
They do.
I'm not sure I can answer the question. I don't think the Ag Committee has a unified position on pesticides because there is variation among farmers and their use of pesticides. Leah mentioned that applicators have to have licenses, and from the point of view of some farmers, the fact that they have licenses makes them better users, more safe users of pesticides. So I'm not really sure my position on this committee maybe serves makes it a two-way street somehow between them, but I honestly am not sure. It's not as if the Ag Committee has said, now when you go over to the Pollinator Committee, don't forget X, Y, and Z.
No, I don't think it was.
Pollinator
I don't
Committee.
think that's what we're
say to
asking,
you,
Emily.
would you bring this up that there's interest and concern and want to know their knowledge of which ones they feel are safe and which ones they don't feel are safe?
I think some input from the farmers and just
Yeah,
say
I mean,
hello
I
to
think
them.
input from the farmers is different from seeking a position from the Ag Committee.
I'm not, I don't think we should seek a position from the Ag Committee. I think that would be very confrontive. And I think just some conversation and dialogue. I mean, Steve used to input some things when he was on the group. So we had some feedback, and depending on who showed up or whatever, there was some feedback back and forth. I think it's to understand. My personal thing is that we understand how pesticides are used in town by the farmers. Because
So,
whether
yeah.
they're natural, they're organic. I mean, there are things being used by farmers, and some of them are organic.
Yep. So I guess,
I mean, I think it's a dialogue. I don't think there's an opinion. I just think it's a dialogue of listening. That would be my opinion. And if it's too hard a question to ask, well, save it for later.
no, I'm not saying that. I guess I should have asked Isabel what was the basis of her question. How does this fit into a process that you're outlining right now?
Well,
And it involves, hang on, may I just speak? It involves seeking understanding what the state has, talking to some people here, maybe centrally or incidentally identifying golf courses. What I'm really saying is I don't have a clear picture of the framework yet. I think it's absolutely, it makes total sense to talk with farmers about their usage or not of pesticides. But is that a first step, or does the pollinator committee need a framework first for the information that it's trying to gather?
Well, I think those are good points. I think what Lois was referring to is that Steve used to sort of give the farmer's point of view of which pesticides were helpful or which avenue you got them, because he was using seeds that were treated. And they were pretty much the only seeds that he was able to, purchase at that he was set to purchase. And so I think, it getting an understanding of, what the challenges are, because farms are a big part of our land in
Right.
Concord.
Yep.
And so just understanding, what their, what their challenges and their perspective of, how these are used.
So, I mean, it sounds as if kind of need to start from scratch with the farmers.
Right.
Although Steve was
Yeah.
on the committee, I don't know if anybody took notes. I don't know if that's information that you already have, or
Oh,
you basically
yeah,
want to start again.
he just educated us with his farm, how
Yeah.
he used, mostly it was in seeds. He wasn't laying down, he didn't talk about laying down any kind of pesticide things or chemicals.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research on this a few years ago. And it turns out that each pesticide, like Cruiser, for example, if you use it on a golf course on turf, not just a golf course, but any turf, a yard or a golf course, to kill grubs, the Syngenta or whoever makes it, Bayer, has a recommended application rate.
Right.
And licensed applicators follow that.
Right.
And a good case in point is when I looked at the numbers from Nishotic, the numbers they had for their total application rate for the year was consistent with what each pesticide they put down recommended. Because they're licensed applicators, they're following directions. Like Emily said, that's part of being a licensed applicator. I went to the licensing training a few years ago, and they're very cognizant of that it doesn't need to be over applied, but you do need to apply enough to be effective for what you're trying to accomplish. And I think that's true of the farmers that have licenses, and I think that's true of the so that, for example, the treated seed has a certain amount of that pesticide in it, and it's put in at a rate, and the amount of pesticide, like we've talked about, I guess, but when you do the numbers on the the manufacturer's recommendation for neonicotinoids, the amount of per acre for turf is about 4 times what it is for corn seed, for example. So I think that what we're after is more to know where in town and how much is being applied, so that from the pollinator committee point of view, if we want to develop a pollinator friendly habitat, it's probably good to put it. In the case of bumblebees, I think their foraging range is something like 1,500, 2,000 yards, maybe a little more than that, certainly less than a mile. So we'll know that if we keep it in this location, we're not luring a bumblebee into a trap, so to speak. And I think from the point of view of people, look, when I was doing the research on neonics, gosh, more than a decade ago, 2012, the folks at the Harvard School of Public Health said there was a problem with neonicotinoids and mitochondria, that they affect mitochondria. And there's articles written about mitochondria DNA being adversely affected by this. And what we were seeing with honeybees, at least, was that over a number of generations, the genetics of the bee were being affected by continual exposure to very low levels of neonics. So I think what our concern for people is just have an idea of what's going on. We're not, our goal is not the Concord Resident Health Advisory Committee. But I think as a pollinator committee, we have two focuses. One is to try to reduce the amount of pesticides that we know adversely affect all pollinators, and to try to improve the habitat, like you've been doing, Isabel, and all of us have been doing, by planting native plants that feed the native pollinators, because the diversity of those in Concord over time, especially with climate change going on, is going to be important. And I think farmers recognize that too. I mean, Steve's been very supportive of our winter sow efforts and stuff, because he wants to keep bees around, because they really help. I'm glad to have bees around, because then when I open up my winter squash in the wintertime, the seeds are plump, meaning they were fertilized, not flat, meaning that they didn't get fertilized. So that they're all viable. Anyway, having said all those words, I apologize for saying I think we need to move on the agenda, but maybe if there's a few other comments, but we need to be fairly quick because it's already almost 8 o'clock.
I might jump in just really quick.
You bet.
You know, within our committee, though, you know, where I think we do have impact, or we can have impact, is especially when there's community outreach events, you know, people whose business it is, who make a living off of, you know, from farming the land or golf courses. You know, it's a lot harder for them to implement change with pesticide use when that is, you know, literally their livelihood. But there's lots of people in Concord who are spraying. I mean, you can drive by plenty of very green lawns with not a single leaf, and they're definitely spraying. So, you know, as far as our time and efforts, I think also for creating that bee high, you know, pollinator highway, just trying to figure out ways for outreach too, maybe not just farmers. We can have maybe a bigger impact.
I think that's a great idea.
But
because we have lawn services in Cananum where I live, and it's a very quote unquote wild area. But I know, I totally agree with you. Those lawn services, I'm sure, are putting down, you know, stuff in the spring to kill the bugs that, of course, then are endangering the native pollinators that go and collect pollen from whatever plants are growing around there that are picking up the pesticide.
I mean, this spring you see all those signs. You know, they have their lawn, whatever they call it, and you know, they go safe for kids or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it is a little scary that gets used, to me.
And that certainly is something that Wilson is very effective at. And that's one of his goals right now, is to teach individual. At least that's what I get out of his presentation.
All right, maybe, yeah, okay, so
let's really maybe focus on that. And this other stuff, we'll just sort of put on the back burner and work on it.
Well, wait a minute.
what, I'm not involved.
What are the action points from this discussion? My action points is that I'm supposed to talk to Wilson, Will Holden, and Xerxes. What other action points are there, or am I the only action points? Yep. I think, Emily, what do you?
No, I'm supposed to reach out to.
We're missing.
Well, so I guess I still don't understand the framework. I mean, Isabel, when you talk to Wilson, what are you going to be asking him? What information can he give you, or what is it that you want him to do? Just so I have some model for how I would talk to the Ag Committee about the information that would be helpful to them, that this committee doesn't already know, because there's been a lot of interaction between farmers, I think. I mean, I'm really, I'm just trying to get a handle on, and I'm new, obviously, to
Right.
this, um,
To me, at this
of what
point,
the,
it's
what the
just,
framework is.
to me, is to report that it's a discussion we're having at this point in time. I mean, to me, I don't think, the framework is nailed down.
Okay, so I am not.
That's my
I'm,
listening, and somebody else may have another listening, Emily, but it just to report that the pollinator people are looking at this.
Well, I can certainly do that in the
I
ag
mean,
committee, but if it's a matter of
I don't
presenting
think,
several, a bunch of questions to
I
the
don't
ag
think that's
committee,
where we're at this point.
okay, so there's
That's
not,
my listening. We don't have a questionnaire.
well, and just now, in response to, just now it felt as if things had shifted in terms of emphasis. So maybe just Mark said that he was going to talk to the state. Isabel is talking with Xerxes and Wilson, but what are the questions that we're seeking answers to in those two instances? And then, maybe it's worth focusing attention on golf courses.
Mm-hmm. Very
The two
definitely.
of them.
Okay, but that's like 9 million things all at
Yeah.
once. Can't do them all at once.
Well, luckily there's only two
To
golf.
focus,
Oh.
to focus on the golf courses, you need to know what the rules are. And basically what I see us right now, finding out what the rules are, or the groups that we're talking to, what they feel their rules are that they have to follow, or where they're at, what they kind of do, just kind of listen to them. I don't see that we have a big questionnaire because I don't think we know the questions. I don't. Maybe everybody else does, and I'm the only one who doesn't. I can own that one. But mainly to listen and just what are you doing? What happens in terms of pesticides, herbicides, rodenticides, the whole list. And a lot of times pesticides, people don't think the herbicides. So, I mean, I think just to kind of have some like a friendly chat over coffee or tea or a beer or whatever you do. I mean, that kind of listening to just kind of build up a little bit of camaraderie. I don't think it's a big like answer all these questions for us. If that's what it is, I'm not like that's a little uncomfortable in my place.
Well, one thing I can offer, Lois, and to you all, is in my study of it, I found certainly there is a lot of scientific research that
Right.
talks about the interaction of, for example, glyphosate and neonicotinoids. That
Right.
the two together are much harder on wildlife
Right.
than each one individually.
Right.
It's sort of like in a boxing ring, you got a left hook and a
Right.
and a
I understand that. Yeah.
yeah.
So
But I think if you haven't read that literature, you should, because
Yeah.
it gives you background and it gives you an understanding of what people have found to be the relationship between
right.
health and pesticides.
Right.
But I think let's do that as a group. I definitely will reach out and find out what's on the forum these days. And Isabel's going to talk to Wilson, and Leah, you're going to, I liked what your comment of, I think one thing that we have that's in our charge is to conduct public meetings about pesticides. Yep. And I think perhaps this winter might be a great opportunity to do something like that at the townhouse and teach people about what to ask their lawn service to allow them to perhaps eliminate the poisons that they really don't need. And just today, I'm sure you guys probably got it too. I got an email from somebody, I forget who it is. They said, here's 6 steps to change your to change your garden to something, or change your lawn into a meadow, 6 easy
Okay.
steps. And we see that going on around town. I see yards that are disappearing, and that's probably a very good sign.
Lawns that are disappearing.
Exactly. Yes, right. So, but anyway, let's move on because time is flying. Um, the next item on the
Emily, well, wait a minute, Mark, before you do that, is Emily comfortable? Where are you at, Emily?
Oh, good point.
Check it.
At the moment, I guess I'm not sure that turning to the farmers right now answers the questions that you're asking of the state and of the NRC, and of course I think the Ag Committee has somebody in my role as a liaison to the committee, wants to be in dialogue. I think if I'm going to go around and interview farmers, I'd like to, but I think at some point it's more than just my having coffee and then having information which is not shared with the committee and is anecdotal and so forth. I mean, what is it that we want to know from any of these groups that we would also want to know from farmers?
Okay, that's a good question, Emily.
And I would be more comfortable.
I don't think there's anything you have to do right now.
I'm good. I mean,
that would be me right now.
It feels that way to me. It's not that I'm not.
Yeah,
I am completely prepared to be part of a conversation and to be a liaison, and yeah, I think it could be very interesting.
Yep.
And I guess my thought is, do they have any guidance as we try to look at pesticides? Because many of them have done a lot of study about that.
Yep.
And so I would really love some of their guidance if they have any. I mean, they know more about it than I do by far, because that's their bread and butter.
Right. That would be a very interesting question to ask and get answers to. And so when it seems to fit in with whatever this current project is, I'm available.
Good.
Great.
Yeah, great. That sounds great.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, back to you, Mark. Hi. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I felt like we were late.
This is good. That was pretty good. That was very good. So I'm going to be starting some native plant slips now, which is not when I usually do it. I'll be cutting willow this week and making willow water, and then cutting red twig, and maybe a couple other pollinator friendly plants, and sticking them in little pots, the little sticks about so much, and I'll put them in the garage for them to have fun rooting, and I'll water them with willow water. And so if anyone would like some willow water, I can provide little pieces of willow that you can add to the water, and it's like making tea. You just let it sit for a while, say 2 or 3 or 5 days, and then you water these little slips. If you take a cutting of anything, I'm going to try even taking a cutting of a raspberry that I quite like, which is not exactly a pollinator plant, but the cane, and stick it in this and see if it roots over the winter. I think it's highly likely. Certainly pieces of willow, and I can provide lots of willow sticks that you could stick in pots at home. So let me know if you want that. That's my that was a piece of old business that I didn't get done last month, but I intend to do because I've been reading about it, and this is a good time to start them. We can, um,
And
Who
then,
wants to- huh?
no, go ahead.
I was going to say our next item, unless anybody got a comment about that or that you're already doing it or anything like that.
Nope. Everything I
Okay.
have is frozen solid.
Exactly. Well, this is all above ground, so like tomorrow, it'll be warm enough that it make cuttings. It's no problem. The who is chair and clerk for the coming months?
Wait a minute, we skipped native plant sowing. Are people going to show up on January 11th? At
That's
Vero
under new
Farm?
business. That's under new business. I
Oh,
guess.
sorry.
Sorry, yep, we're getting there.
Okay.
Just a little short, quick. Who wants to be chair next month, and who wants to be clerk? Or did we have somebody? I thought we had somebody arranged, and I just don't. I think I remember, but I don't want to put them on the spot.
I'll be clerk.
You'll be clerk. Okay. Leah, do you want to be in charge?
Sure.
Chair? Okay. I'm glad to help in both cases.
Okay, can you for whoever, if you have a outline for taking minutes, I would appreciate it.
You bet.
I'll
So-
send, after this call is over, I can send the minutes and like a draft agenda for next month's call, if anyone wants to make edits.
Okay, but there also, we used to have a template for minutes, or did,
Yeah, we did. That's
So
right.
I've seen a couple versions, so I don't know if there's an official.
whoever's got the best one, send it to me, please.
I'll send one that I'm filling out right now and see.
Okay.
Good.
Feel free to edit.
Okay. So moving on to new business is the winter sow is coming up in January. Isabel, is there anyone beside that?
No, I have several that I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Not that, I mean, Council on Aging just is the other sort of town property. I've got individual properties that I'm doing. Let's see, January the 11th is at Vero Farm on all afternoon.
Yep.
The 18th I'm doing St. Anne's. The 22nd I'm doing the winter sow at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock at Council on Aging. And the 21st I'm doing one at the community center in Wayland.
Okay, great. Do you want to send us an email with that so we know?
Sure.
And if you want us to be there to help.
Yeah, and the Garden Club approved my grant, so they're going to pay for food, seed, and I asked Vero Farm if we could use their soil, and she said yes. So I just have to go and confirm that.
Nice.
Because that would really relieve some of all of it's organic Vermont compost.
Yeah.
So I just need to be sure that that's going to work. And if it isn't, then I've got to be sure we defrost anything I buy, because I did go to a winter sow. Was it last year? And Freddie bought soil that was so frozen that we couldn't use it.
Well, if you need a place that's frost-free to store stuff like that, I have plenty of room in my garage and it does not freeze in there because it's an insulated garage.
Okay, I can bring over my two backup things. That would be great.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. 2 50-pound bags is nothing, right?
Well, I have the roller cart as well as a block of soil.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, no problem.
Hmm.
I can always move my car out. No, I'm just teasing.
Well, that's about where I am right now.
Yeah. It's okay. So yeah, it's interesting. I had this garage built when we bought the house, and I insulated it R19 with fiberglass, and the slab gets enough ground heat from the soil that it doesn't freeze in there during the winter. The guy who built it put a quote unquote insulated garage door. So I've really been happy with that. I thought I'd insulate it because I was going to work out there in the winter. And I don't even have to heat it now. I thought I was just going to save heat. Um, the next question on the new business is we should probably do an annual report to the town. Is anyone interested in writing that or participating in the writing of that?
I could participate, but I don't want to do the whole thing because I don't really know how to do it.
I think it's pretty free form, so we can.
All right. If you have an old one and whatever, I can maybe take a beginning stab at it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lois. Let's see.
So that's the report to the select board. That's
yeah, and I think
regarding our charge and whatever else we might be doing. Is that?
Yeah, I think I'll find a person to check with would be
do we have a liaison from the select board?
Yeah, it's Mark Howell. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can give Mark a call.
Yeah,
Okay.
he won't know anything about it because he hasn't attended any meetings.
Right. That's okay.
You should know what the report would contain.
Mhm.
And I think we could also just check with the town manager's office too. And then the only last thing I got something from the Pollinator Partnership. I might have put it out in the email, saying they had a bunch of pollinator research grants money to spend. And I looked at it, and the one item in there that sort of appealed to me was research on endangered bumblebee species. And sure enough, Bombus furbitus was on there, and I think Bombus terricola. I have not seen one of the terricolas in Concord, and I've only seen probably a drone and a queen from one's probably small colony or group of furbitus in our neighborhood. I think other people in town have seen them. I'm pretty sure CLCT has seen some, but
I did
wonder yeah, and you've
for
seen them.
CLCT.
Okay. So perhaps if you got that email, maybe have a look at it and see if there's something in there that we might want to do. Would it make sense? Should we, like in the case of Cananum, Sudbury Valley trustees had a bunch of grants, and one of the people here applied for a couple $1,000s, and they hired an intern to help get the water chestnuts out of the Sudbury River near here. Maybe there's something we might think up as a group, saying, hey, we could hire an intern to help with the Harrington Pollinator Garden. Maybe we expand that or something. So I'm throwing it out as an idea.
I think partnering with like CLCT or some they did ecology walks all summer.
Yeah.
I attended. But I mean, and they will have an intern.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure how that all would work because people need to be out in the field to look to find the bumblebees.
Yes.
Did we ever get a report from the park, the national park, what they found?
We tried.
You were on that.
I know, and basically once her contract ended, like she disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know if someone else heard anything or knew. I could try to go back and find out who got that grant. And there must, to me, there should be a report somewhere that's. I mean, we saw the slideshow she had, but the gal who did the observing at the national park and her team.
Okay.
Let me see if I can hunt down some cross information on that. Because
good.
I mean, that was her thing, and she had pictures of some of the things, but I'm not familiar enough to know which ones are the endangered ones and which ones are the common ones.
Okay.
So who arranged the grant? Okay. Is there anything else I should find if I'm asking the park?
I'd ask them if they're planning a bio blitz and maybe we could participate with that.
What is that?
Bio blitz is a day where they document every natural item. Sometimes it's only insects, sometimes it's only plants, but
Okay. So it's like those bird things people do when they count the birds or, okay.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Working with them on one of those would be
Do
very,
you know from the friends that they're planning something like that or
they have
mumbling?
one every year. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
so it's when their annual one is.
Yeah. And can we, help out in any way?
Okay. Thanks, Isabel.
Mhm.
Well, let's see. I think it's 8 minutes after 8. It's 8 minutes past my bedtime, though. But this has been really helpful. Any closing comments or anybody in favor of adjourning?
Sounds good.
I move to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Sure, next
Okay.
meeting be on the January 13th.
Let's see. Sorry.
Either the 13th or the 6th. Let's see.
The 6th.
Oh, what if I think, isn't there a problem with, I think there may be a problem with Tuesdays. Isn't that right, Isabel?
It's the second Tuesday of the month that my husband has this club that he sometimes wants me to attend. I really don't
Okay.
want to do that anymore. I think that was a special party. So I think
Okay.
I'm good for the second Tuesday of the month.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I think I can do
The
that.
13th.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to do it before the winter sow at Verrill, or do you want to do it after?
Well, the second Tuesday is the 13th.
I know, but the winter sow is on the 11th.
That's correct.
Yeah. So what if we do it maybe on the first Tuesday?
I have
Okay.
I have a conflict, but I'm willing to show up for pollinators.
I think after, I mean, if people will just come and help with the
Okay.
with
Yeah,
the
we've done.
event, and if you can show up 11:30, 12 o'clock for setup, it would be great.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not like this is a brand new thing we're doing.
No.
Okay. I think that sounds great. So we'll do it the second Tuesday. Awesome.
Okay, just to let you know, I mean, I will try to get over to the townhouse and get sworn in, and I am going to be pretty challenged the next few months, but I'll try to do the best I can.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you can work on that report, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's something
Okay.
it's like mostly home and not too much in the public, and I don't. Just while I'm sick that you here, as Isabel, I don't know how I'll be for to help at Verrill.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, you certainly have helped in the past, and we really appreciate all that you've done, so.
Right. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm where I am, and I've got to pay attention to that stuff right now. And
Absolutely.
hopefully, if I pay attention now, I'll be good later.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would say don't sweat about being sworn in. I mean, I've been doing this for 6 years without being sworn in. So.
Well, I got a note, and I've had quite a conversation today about it. I asked for accommodation, and the accommodation I could get was Lori said what Austin said she'd come outside. I said, "You mean I can't do it remotely anyway?" No, it's very interesting conversation.
I would ask her if you can Zoom for the sworn in.
What?
If you can have her Zoom you sworn in.
No. I've asked that. No, the answer right now is no, which is an interesting answer. There should be
Well,
an
that's a violation of the ADA, so.
Well, that's what I said when I asked for accommodation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would go to Mary, head of select board, and say, that you're not being accommodated for swearing in.
I can't even get in the townhouse. I mean,
Right, exactly. So no,
Emily had
I would
Emily had to
report it.
rescue me one night
I think you,
from
I
the
think
rest
you have to-
from the elevator.
Lois, don't worry about it. It's not important on the grand. Your help.
I'm not worried about it, but like we're asking other people for rules and regs. I mean, so it's like I kind of feel that
Yeah.
even though it's a different category, that I should follow rules and regs.
Sure, but do it in June or May.
I'll figure it out. Don't worry.
We'll be okay.
I hope you feel better and stay well.
Yeah, today's
Lois,
a good day. Yesterday was not.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, Emily?
Bye-bye, everybody.
I was just going to say to Lois, if you're going to talk to Mark Howell
Yeah,
about the annual report,
yeah,
he is actually the chair of the select board now.
I know.
And maybe he
And
could
he's
help.
leaving.
And
He's
he's
not-
Yeah, but
leaving.
he needs to know that they are in violation of ADA.
Okay. Thanks for saying wording it that way. I said, there's more to this.
Well, I think it's very straightforward. If you're in, basically sort of house arrest for your illness, and that's the way it is. And
Thank you for, I like that, house arrest. I like that. Thanks for that picture. Thanks for the help with that stuff today, everybody. I like that, house arrest. That's so good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Emily, thank you for being there that day that I had to get rescued out of the elevator. What I was going to say is, I think at the townhouse in the winter, they should close the front door and everybody should come through the side. And it would eliminate everybody sliding and slipping on the granite steps, going up the front steps. Just come around the side, leave that door open, and then the people who are using the elevator would have at least somebody to rescue them when things go awry. Plus, it's safer. They're on the flat the whole time, and it's indoors is where the steps are.
Yeah.
I need to. Okay, I've got a bunch of stuff to talk to people. Then okay, got it. Mark and Carrie and the whole crew.
Cool.
Carrie LaFleur. Okay. I figured I'd, get down there by now, but I haven't. So anyway, thank you.
all righty.
Yeah.
We're good.
Have a good holiday.